Question 136. Which type of scaling does Amazon EC2 auto scaling provide? Now the options are: Option 1, incremental. Option 2, vertical. Option 3, linear. Option 4, horizontal. And the correct answer is Option 4, horizontal. Explanation: Amazon EC2 auto scaling scales horizontally by adding, launching and terminating EC2 instances based on actual demand for your application. Horizontal is the correct answer. Vertical is incorrect, as EC2 auto scaling scales horizontally. Linear is incorrect, as this is not the way auto scaling works. Incremental is incorrect, as this is not the way auto scaling works. Next question. A web application running on AWS has been received malicious request from the same set of IP addresses. Which AWS service can help secure the application and block the malicious traffic? Now the options are: Option 1, AWS WAF. Option 2, Amazon SNS. Option 3, Amazon Guard Duty. Option 4, AWS IAM. And the correct answer is Option 1, AWS WAF. Explanation: the AWS Web Application Firewall is used to protect web applications or APIs against common web exploits. Rules can be created that block traffic based on source IP address. AWS WAF is the correct answer. AWS IAM is incorrect. The Identity and Access Management Service is used for creating users, groups, roles, and policies. It is not used for controlling network access. Amazon Guard Duty is incorrect. This is a service that analyzes your resources using anomaly detection and machine learning. It can alert and trigger other tools to take action, but it is not a network firewall service. Amazon SNS is incorrect, as this service is used for sending notifications using a publisher or subscriber model. Next question. Which type of elastic load balancer operates at the TCP connection level? Now the options are: Option 1, Classic Load Balancer CLB. Option 2, Network Load Balancer NLB. Option 3, Amazon Route 53 Load Balancer. Option 4, Application Load Balancer ALB. And the correct answer is Option 2, Network Load Balancer NLB. Explanation: a network load balancer functions at the fourth layer of the Open Systems Interconnection OSI model. NLB is direct connections based on information at the TCP connection level. Network Load Balancer NLB is the correct answer. Application Load Balancer ALB is incorrect. ALBs process traffic at the application level, layer 7, based on information in the HTTP or HTTPS headers. Classic Load Balancer CLB is incorrect. CLBs process traffic at the TCP, SSL, HTTP and HTTPS levels, layer 4 and 7. Amazon Route 53 load balancer is incorrect. There is no feature called a load balancer that is associated with Route 53. You can perform a type of load balancing using multi-value answer routing. Next question. How can a systems administrator specify a script to be run on an EC2 instance during launch? Now the options are: Option 1, metadata. Option 2, run command. Option 3, user data. Option 4, AWS Config. And the correct answer is Option 3, user data. Explanation: when you launch an instance in Amazon EC2, you have the option of passing user data to the instance that can be used to perform common automated configuration tasks and even run scripts after the instance starts. You can pass two types of user data to Amazon EC2: shell scripts and cloud init directives. User data is data that is supplied by the user at instance launch in the form of a script. User data is limited to 16 KB. User data and metadata are not encrypted. User data is the correct answer. Metadata is incorrect, as metadata retrieves information about the instance. Run command is incorrect, as this operates separately to the launch process. AWS Config is incorrect, as this service stores configuration information relating to AWS services. Next question. Based on the shared responsibility model, which of the following security and compliance tasks in AWS responsible for? Now the options are: Option 1. Updating operating systems. Option 2. Updating Amazon EC2 host firmware. Option 3. Encrypting data in transit. Option 4. Granting access to individuals and services. And the correct answer is Option 2. Updating Amazon EC2 host firmware. Explanation. AWS are responsible for updating Amazon EC2 host firmware. This is considered security of the cloud. All other tasks are the responsibility of the customer. Updating Amazon EC2 host firmware is the correct answer. Granting access to individuals and services is incorrect. This is something a customer must perform to control access to the resources they use on AWS. Encrypting data in transit is incorrect. Encryption at rest and in transit is a customer responsibility. Updating operating systems is incorrect. Customers are responsible for patching operating systems on Amazon EC2. AWS are only responsible for the host servers. Next question. How can a company facilitate the sharing of data over private connections between two accounts they own within a region? Now the options are: Option 1. Configure matching CIDR address ranges. Option 2. Create an internal ELB. Option 3. Create a subnet peering connection. Option 4. Create a VPC peering connection. And the correct answer is Option 4. Create a VPC peering connection. Explanation. A VPC peering connection helps you to facilitate the transfer of data. For example, if you have more than one AWS account, you can peer the VPCs across those accounts to create a file sharing network. You can also use a VPC peering connection to allow other VPCs to access resources you have in one of your VPCs. Create a VPC peering connection is the correct answer. Create an internal ELB is incorrect. An internal ELB will not help you to transfer data between accounts. Create a subnet peering connection is incorrect. You cannot peer subnets. Configure matching CIDR address ranges is incorrect. Configuring matching CIDR address ranges will not mean you can route between accounts. Also, you cannot peer with an account with a matching or overlapping address range. Next question. Which of the following are not features of AWS IAM? Select two options. Now the options are: Option 1. Identity Federation. Option 2. Shared access to your AWS account. Option 3. PCI DSS compliance. Option 4. Logon using local user accounts. Option 5. Charged for what you use. And the correct answer is Option 4. Logon using local user accounts. And Option 5. Charged for what you use. Explanation. You cannot use IAM to create local user accounts on any system. You are also not charged for what you use. IAM is free to use. The other options are all features of AWS IAM. Logon using local user accounts is the correct answer. Charged for what you use is the correct answer. Shared access to your AWS account is incorrect. Identity Federation is incorrect. PCI DSS compliance is incorrect. Next question. Which of the authentication options below can be used to authenticate using AWS APIs? Select two options. Now the options are: Option 1. Key pairs. Option 2. Server passwords. Option 3. Access keys. Option 4. Server certificates. Option 5. Security groups. And the correct answer is Option 3. Access keys. And Option 4. Server certificates. Explanation. Access keys are long-term credentials for an IAM user or the AWS account root user. You can use access keys to sign programmatic requests to the AWS CLI or AWS API directly or using the AWS SDK. Server certificates are SSL or TLS certificates that you can use to authenticate with some AWS services. Access keys is the correct answer. Server certificates is also a correct answer. Key pairs is incorrect. Key pairs are used for encrypting logon information when accessing EC2 instances. Server passwords is incorrect. A server password cannot be used to authenticate with an API. Security groups is incorrect. Security groups are an instance-level firewall used for controlling access to AWS resources. Next question. Under the shared responsibility model, which of the following tasks are the responsibility of the AWS customer? Select two options. Now the options are: Option 1. Ensuring that users have received security training in the use of AWS services. Option 2. Ensuring that hardware is disposed of properly. Option 3. Ensuring that AWS NTP servers are set to correct time. Option 4. Ensuring that access to data centers is restricted. Option 5. Ensuring that application data is encrypted at rest. And the correct answer is Option 1. Ensuring that users have received security training in the use of AWS services. And Option 5. Ensuring that application data is encrypted at rest. Explanation. As a customer on AWS, you take responsibility for encrypting data. This includes encrypting data at rest and data in transit. It's also a customer's responsibility to properly train their staff in security best practices and procedures for the AWS services they use. Ensuring that application data is encrypted at rest is a correct answer. Ensuring that users have received security training in the use of AWS services is also a correct answer. Ensuring that AWS NTP servers are set to the correct time is incorrect. Network Time Protocol NTP servers are an AWS responsibility. Ensuring that access to data centers is restricted is incorrect, as this is security of the cloud and is an AWS responsibility. Ensuring that hardware is disposed of properly is incorrect, as this is an AWS responsibility. Next question. Which AWS service is designed to be used for operational analytics? Now the options are: Option 1. Amazon QuickSight. Option 2. Amazon Elasticsearch Service. Option 3. Amazon Athena. Option 4. Amazon EMR. And the correct answer is Option 2. Amazon Elasticsearch Service. Explanation. Amazon Elasticsearch Service is involved with operational analytics such as application monitoring, log analytics, and clickstream analytics. Amazon Elasticsearch Service allows you to search, explore, filter, aggregate, and visualize your data in near real time. Amazon Elasticsearch is the correct answer. Amazon EMR is incorrect. For big data processing using the Spark and Hadoop frameworks, Amazon EMR provides a managed service for processing vast amounts of data. Amazon Athena is incorrect. Amazon Athena is used to analyze data directly in S3 and Glacier using standard SQL queries. Amazon QuickSight is incorrect. Amazon QuickSight provides a fast, cloud-powered business analytics service that makes it easy to build stunning visualizations and rich dashboards that can be accessed from any browser or mobile device. Next question. What is an example of scaling vertically? Now the options are: Option 1. AWS Autoscaling adding more EC2 instances. Option 2. AWS Lambda adding concurrently executing functions. Option 3. Increasing the instance size with Amazon RDS. Option 4. Adding read replicas to an Amazon RDS database. And the correct answer is Option 3. Increasing the instance size with Amazon RDS. Explanation. A good example of vertical scaling is changing the instance size of an EC2 instance or RDS database to one with more CPU and RAM. All of the other options are examples of scaling horizontally. Increasing the instance size with Amazon RDS is the correct answer. AWS Autoscaling adding more EC2 instances is incorrect. AWS Lambda adding concurrently executing functions is incorrect. Adding read replicas to an Amazon RDS database is incorrect. Next question. A company is using the AWS CLI and programmatic access of AWS resources from its on-premises network. What is a mandatory requirement in this scenario? Now the options are: Option 1. Using Amazon API Gateway. Option 2. Using an Amazon EC2 key pair. Option 3. Using an AWS Direct Connect connection. Option 4. Using an AWS access key and a secret key. And the correct answer is option 4. Using an AWS access key and a secret key. Explanation. Access keys are long-term credentials for an IAM user or the AWS account root user. You can use access keys to sign programmatic requests to the AWS CLI or AWS API, directly or using the AWS SDK. Access keys consist of two parts: an access key ID and a secret access key. Like a username and password, you must use both the access key ID and secret access key together to authenticate your request. Using an AWS access key and a secret key is the correct answer. Using an AWS Direct Connect connection is incorrect. It is not a requirement that you use a Direct Connect connection. You can access public services via the API using the internet. For private services, you can use Direct Connect, a VPN, or a Bastion host. Using Amazon API Gateway is incorrect. You do not need API Gateway for programmatic access to the AWS API. Using an Amazon EC2 key pair is incorrect. A key pair is used to securely access EC2 resources and should not be confused with access keys. Next question. Which pricing model will interrupt a running Amazon EC2 instance if capacity becomes temporarily unavailable? Now the options are: Option 1. Convertible reserved instances. Option 2. Spot instances. Option 3. Standard reserved instances. Option 4. On-demand instances. And the correct answer is Option 2. Spot instances. Explanation. Amazon EC2 spot instances let you take advantage of unused EC2 capacity in the AWS cloud. Spot instances are available at up to a 90% discount compared to on-demand prices. When AWS need to reclaim the capacity, you get a 2-minute warning and then your instances are terminated. With all other pricing models, your instances will not be terminated by AWS once they are running. Spot instances is the correct answer. On-demand instances is incorrect. Standard reserved instances is incorrect. Convertible reserved instances is incorrect. Next question. According to the AWS well-architected framework, what change management steps should be taken to achieve reliability in the AWS cloud? Select two options. Now the options are: Option 1. Use AWS Config to generate an inventory of AWS resources. Option 2. Use AWS Cloud Trail to record AWS API calls into an auditable log file. Option 3. Use AWS Certificate Manager to create a catalog of approved services. Option 4. Use service limits to prevent users from creating or making changes to AWS resources. Option 5. Use Amazon Guard Duty to record API activity to an S3 bucket. And the correct answer is Option 1. Use AWS Config to generate an inventory of AWS resources. And Option 2. Use AWS Cloud Trail to record AWS API calls into an auditable log file. Explanation. AWS Config can be used to track the configuration state of your resources and how the state has changed over time. With Cloud Trail, you can audit who made what API calls on what resources at what time. This can help with identifying changes that cause reliability issues. Use AWS Config to generate an inventory of AWS resources is the correct answer. Use AWS Cloud Trail to record AWS API calls into an auditable log files is the correct answer. Use service limits to prevent users from creating or making changes to AWS resources is incorrect. Service limits result in a maximum limit for launching resources, but you can still make changes to existing resources, so long as you don't exceed the limit. Use AWS Certificate Manager to create a catalog of approved services is incorrect. Certificate Manager is used for issuing and managing SSL or TLS certificates. It does not maintain a catalog of approved services. Use Amazon Guard Duty to record API activity to an S3 bucket is incorrect. Guard Duty does not record API activity to an S3 bucket. Next question. Which of the statements below does not characterize cloud computing? Now the options are: Option 1. With cloud computing, you get to benefit from massive economies of scale. Option 2. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of compute power. Option 3. Cloud computing allows you to swap variable expense for capital expense. Option 4. With cloud computing, you can increase your speed and agility. And the correct answer is option 3. Cloud computing allows you to swap variable expense for capital expense. Explanation. Cloud computing is not a one-off capital expense. It is an ongoing operating expense. The caveat to this is that if you purchase reserved capacity, you have an option to partially or fully pay upfront. However, it is still an operating cost as you do not own and depreciate the assets. Cloud computing allows you to swap variable expense for capital expense is the correct answer. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of compute power is incorrect, as this is a valid statement. With cloud computing, you get to benefit from massive economies of scale is incorrect, as this is a valid statement. With cloud computing, you can increase your speed and agility is incorrect, as this is a valid statement. Thank you for watching this video. Buy our AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner CLF-C01 premium questions with 50% off. Check link in the description.